There being nobody to introduce us, one of us must break the silence.
Hello there.
What do you want? I told you to lay off me, man.
Please don't be surprised at a murderer being so equipped. I think you'd better give me that dangerous thing.
I'm tired of waiting out here. Take the gun and watch him for a spell while I go inside. It won't be long. Stay way over here out of reach of his chain. Whatever you do, don't let him get a hold of that gun.
You couldn't perhaps be the devil. Man or devil, I made no bargain with him.
Who told you? Yes, Smith.
I'm a happy sort of person and it always feels good, huh? And when I'm fighting, I feel double good. So what I want to put a face on for?
Darth Vader, only you could be so bold.
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
And don't you papa me, girl. I'll papa you so you never forget it. I quit on you when you cleared out of Detroit with Willie the Pimp.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
You Willie's in jail. You just smelling gravy here. From the jungle like you, baby, and I hear the drums. Gonna make me some money again. I'm gonna fight. I got my turn to be the champion of the world.
You can't win, Darth.
Look, man, I'm in the prime of my life, because I live the way I got to.
What is this farce?
Your powers are weak, old man. You get no special treatment from me.
It's very wrong of you to frighten people like that.
Oh, what a world, what a world!
And now, our feature presentation.
Okay, these are the 5 different styles of Ryobi batteries we're going to be taking apart to notice the difference in the different batteries. And these are the tools you're going to need in order to do this. A pair of gloves, some jumper clips, 2 9-volt batteries, some sort of tape, cellophane tape's good, popsicle stick, Harbor Freight nylon pry tool, very small jeweler screwdriver, a number 1 Phillips, there's 2 different styles of that, a scratch-all, a small flathead screwdriver, ratcheting Phillips, voltmeter, scissors, nail clippers, side cutters, some needle nose pliers, a Ryobi tool, and these specialty tools. These are starhead tools. They've got a hole in the end of them. That hole, there's a little pin in the end of the screws that fit into that. You have to have the little hole on the end of the star bit in order to get those onto those specialty screws. They've got tamper resistant to keep you from taking these things apart. So you need some that have the long, like an Allen wrench style or the screwdriver style bit. But you've got to have a T8, a T10, and a T15. And there's a T10 and a T15 that's going to fit into the drill. So those are the tools you're going to need. And also you need a charger in case you find some tools that actually can be recharged back up again. We'll talk about that. Okay, one of the first things to do when you get your Ryobi battery, you go to Home Depot, you look in the recycle bucket, you find something like that. Bring it on back, take your voltmeter, and see if there's any voltage at all on these things. And that one, there's nothing. So that one you're going to take apart, see what sort of capacity it has, if you've got any good cells at all. If you find one and it's got some sort of voltage, in this case it shows 19.8. If you have somewhere around 12 or so volts, what you can try to bring that up is get two 9-volt batteries, put the positive and the negative. That's the positive, that's the negative. Take your jumper clips, one on the red, one on the negative, and find the positive and the negative on your battery there, and just start tapping it. Leave it on there for a little bit. See if you can just bring the voltage up enough, around 12 to 14 volts. Enough so that when you put it into the charger, it should start to flash red and then start flashing green as it starts charging. The one that you couldn't get any voltage out of, you see it started to charge and then it just went to a solid red. It's not charging anymore now. So this one you're going to have to take apart. I found a few batteries in the Home Depot bucket. The only thing that was wrong with them was there's a little bit of, like that. See that little bit of crud there on there? And you just take a pencil eraser, and there was nothing wrong with the battery at all. You just had a little bit of dirt, debris on those contacts, and you did that, cleaned them off with the pencil eraser, stick them in the charger, and they start charging. So I've gotten quite a few good batteries that didn't need anything other than just cleaning the terminals a little bit. Okay, so I took apart all of my Ryobi batteries, and the question is asked, what type of cells does Ryobi use? The answer is that they use, they put out a solicitation for bid, and whoever came back with the cheapest price for the 18650 cells got the contract. Well, I found 5 different types within the Ryobi batteries. So I'm going to show you what I found. This pack wasn't any good. These are Molly's out of Canada. Their spec sheet shows that they have a nominal capacity of 1400 milliamps. Nominal voltage 3.8 volts. They weigh 42 grams. And they're supposed to be able to operate from 4.2 volts down to 2.5. But I don't get very many good cells out of the Molly brand. This one right here, this light blue one, LSINR 18650 BB. These are made in China, and they have a nominal capacity. See that at the top there. 18650 IMR 18650 BB. And they have a nominal capacity of only 1200 milliamps. This is the Sanyo, and that is a Sanyo UR 18650 SA. And they have a capacity of 1300 milliamps right there. So they don't have very good capacity. This is from Alibaba. The green ones are LG Parody.11865. And they have a capacity of 1300 milliamp hours. And the last one is the INR 18650 13Q. And those have a capacity of 1300 milliamp hours. So none of the cells that Ryobi is using in their batteries rate out at any more than 1300. The mollies were rated at 1400. Look over here, it says 1400 milliamp hours. But if everyone you test turned out to be zero, what's the point of that? So that's what you find inside Ryobi tool batteries. Okay, first up is a P102. It says 18 volts, 24 watt hours, and the date code down at the bottom says this was made in 2015, CS15. The 15 stands for 2015, and the 31st week of 2015. So somewhere around July, August, somewhere in there. Okay, so how do you take these things apart? First thing you do, take your smallest, next to smallest, this is a T10. Take your T10, and give them about a quarter turn or so. So the P102s, take the T10. Now what you're going to find on some of these, and all of these of that particular style will have it, is this rubber tamper resistant plug. And that thing is a bear to get out of there. And then you've got a screw up in the top here. And you've got to take that out too. Okay. Now, this isn't got to be pretty. You got to take your scratch awl where that rubber plug is at. Make sure you keep that thing away from your hands. Dig into it. Dig into it as hard as you can. You just sit there and dig into that rubber plug. And then try to turn it. It's not going to come out on the first pump. It really takes a lot of doing. It's a little rubber plug. It's in there pretty tight. You have really got to work at it. Finally. That stupid little rubber plug. That thing is really, really hard. You got to get that out of there in order to get the screw that's hiding behind it. Get that loosened up so you can get it out of there. Always use the hand tool to loosen these things up. You shouldn't use the drill right off the bat, because if they're in too tight, that little pin in the center, the little tamper-proof pin, that's right in the center of this thing, will break off. And that will ruin your tool. And you can go to the little tool that's on your drill. Start making quick work of this thing. Once you've got those 4 screws out of there, now you can kind of pop that baby right out of there. These things just slide in. Pull them right out. Now comes time for a pair of side cutters. Get rid of that. Don't need that anymore. And what I like to do first is take the tower off. Get in there and cut the wires.
Oh! What? What? A minute ago you said blue. Did I say blue? Riggs, you said blue. Oh, I meant red. You sure? Look, Raj, we can do it your way if you like. My way? I don't have... quiet. I'm sure, okay? Oh, shit. You ready? I'm cutting the wire. Snip. See? All done. Grab the cap.
Get back! Take back!
That go to that. Alright, and I like to save those 3 little tabs for future projects. It doesn't want to come out of there. Get your little screwdriver and pry on that. And get some nickel with some wire already attached, so let's see if we can use that later. Okay, and then this should just pop right out of there. If it doesn't, get your nylon pry tool. Pop that thing right out of there. Pull these off. Nice piece of nickel. Ideas for that. Maybe we'll find use for that later. Alright. And you come to this. And what I like to do, take the screws out. This is probably the last screw. Out of there. I'm going to start snipping these wires. Just, snip them and give them a little twist at the end, maybe. So you can tell you got all the way through them. Okay. Yep, I did. Once you got those, it's time to put the gloves on. Start bending these out of the way. Just start stripping these off of here. They're just rolling all those off. Enough of the end off to be able to pull these things through. These little nickel strips here. This little black piece is where the thermistor is hiding. It gives the temperature sensor. There's the little thermistor right there, that little black thing. Alright, once you get those off, This peels back. You kind of, once you get it back like that, you just kind of grab it and pull it off there. Okay. Take our gloves back off. Now you need the T08, a tiny little screw. These things are held together, these two halves. They've got a little screw right down in there. And you have to unscrew these two screws. And that is the only tool that's going to fit in there. You may have some other T08s, but if they don't have a long enough shaft, they won't fit in this little valley. You won't be able to unscrew these things. P102s, these things only have a 1.3 amp hour battery in them, those LGs that you see sitting there. So they're not great stuff even from the beginning. And now you start pulling this apart. It pulls apart pretty easy. Of course, this has to be the hardest one. And we may be able to see from a later video, it's like positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. So it's like serpentine through these to get your 18 volts. Now, DeWalt and a couple others say they have 20 volt batteries. They really don't. What they call a 20 volt battery is actually an 18 volt, just like this. It's just that Ryobi is a little more honest with what they're telling you. And let's see, what kind of voltages are we going to get off this thing? Take the voltmeter. Let's turn them all around so that the positives are all on the, going the right way. 0.52 of a volt, 0.50 of a volt, 0.51 of a volt, 0.80 of a volt, 0.72 of a volt. So after all that, none of these LGs are really that good. Okay, next up, P103, right there. And this was made in 2012, the 6th week of 2012, so early in 2012. So this is a pretty old battery. But you notice that this has the screws on the bottom. The other one had the screws on the top. Now with the screws on the bottom, now you need the T15 in order to get these open. So the one's a little bit bigger. The one on the top is a T10, so you got to use your smaller one. Loosen that up. And once you loosen that up, you get the top screw out of there. And now you got to switch and get the T15. And I don't believe this is going to pop open as easy as the other one. Nope. So, get your little screwdriver and pry right about there. There's a little catch right in this area. Alright, so there's the one catch right there. Gotta push in on that. And let's go to the other side, see if we can find it. Right in that area. It's a little bit harder to get it to pop. And sometimes this thing is stuck in here. When that happens, get one of your screwdrivers and push on that. Trying to push this top right on down out of there. Or, hey, what the heck? Whack it. There you go. And that removes the top from that. Don't need that anymore. So it's a different style. You notice that this was more stuck in there. It's a little bit different than the first one. Go ahead and cut those wires out of it. Remove that. Take the scissors. Remove that tape. Totally optional. You can just throw this whole thing away. You don't feel like messing with it. But this thing cost around 45 or 55 bucks when it was new. So let's see if there's anything we can salvage off of it. Let's see if we can pry this thing out of here. Yep. And those are Sanyos. Those are red Sanyo cells. Those things aren't too good either. And let's look at that. Oh, looks like they kind of overheated there. These are a little different to take apart, so I'll just show you how to take these apart. And get the gloves back on. Try to cut these strips if you can. And these nail cutters were brand new. They worked pretty good. It's just very difficult to get something to get right in on those strips and cut them without causing any drama. That's one thing you don't want to do with these things. Okay. Pry that out a little bit so we can get at it. Alright. Okay. Let's try to roll these out of here. I want to show you this. Okay. Pull this off so you can see. Now that one broke. But basically there's 5 of these in a string. And the number 5 broke off of there, right there, before we could get it out of that. So, and that way you can get these out of here. As far as capacity. Nothing. Nothing. Ooh, 410. That's a nice one. 414. Fully charged already. 412. These 3 are really good. These 2 are bad. These 3 are really good, which surprises me for Sanyos. I don't have much luck with Sanyos. And you probably can't see that for a hill of beans, but it does say Sanyo right there. If you catch it just in the light, you'll see where it says Sanyo. But again, these are only about 1.3 amp hours each. P104. P104. 48 watt hours. So you'd think this would have something really good in it. But I haven't had much luck with these big ones. When they go bad, they go bad. But same basic deal. T15. Swap that out for a second. See if that fits in there any tighter. See if we really long-winded screws on these things. There. Had to break the camera to get that one out of there. And the same way, you got to get your screwdriver. Start poking around right around there. Try to pry that thing out of there. Ah, good. Got that one to pop. Try the other side. You think maybe they don't want you to get into these things? Pry up a little bit more of a crack. Get at this thing. There we go. That popped it. Pry it in from the side. And then you got this little gizmo here. This is supposed to pull out. And some crummy sanyos under the foam. See if we can read anything under that foam. .45. Nothing. 1.65. Nothing. 0.76. Nothing. These sanyos, these LGs, just not that good. Sanyos are next to the worst. Not a good sell in the bunch. So we just set him aside. Let's go on to the next one. P105, 48 watt hours. Okay. P105s. They don't have that little button that the other one had. And you take these apart from the top, and they've got that little rubber piece you have to try to get out of there. So let's go dig at that for a while. See what we come up with. Hey, and that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to pop out about that easy. Not like that first one. Okay. Comes off. Side wings come off. Side cutters. Snip those ones on the tower. Totally up to you if you want to pull those off or not. Sometimes they come off real easy. Yeah, like that. And I should have a whole heap of cells all come apart here. Okay. 10 cells. Alright, let's see what we got here. .36, 109, 109, 0.47, let's pull the wrong way, 0.36, 0.47, 1.7, 1.7. Not a very good haul, I'll tell you. For all that trouble taking those apart. And lastly, P107, 28 watt hours. So again, use your smaller T10 of your Allen style star wrench here. last time. The pry tool works, so let's try that. Yes. Oh, look at that. Look how bad that looks. Ooh, that looks real bad. Let's just go and measure it from here, because it might not be worth even going any further. Let's see what we got. Nothing. Nothing. If they're clean and nothing, it's worth trying a little screwdriver trick. If they're as rusty as these are, and they're nothing, there's just nothing you're gonna do. Those babies are shot. So, those are the 5 different styles of Ryobi battery you run into. They all got about 1.3 amp hours in them, and I'm really getting to believe it's not even worth messing with Ryobi tool batteries, because you just don't get anything out of them. You saw how bad the voltages were on these things, and even if you charge them up, you'd only have 1.3 amp hours. If it was brand new, you'll probably only wind up having about 700 or 800 milliamp hours. So not even worth dealing with Ryobis. I like them for tool batteries, but as far as electric bike batteries, they're just not going to cut it. So I hope that gives you an idea what you run into if you drop by your local Home Depot and decide to pull some Ryobi batteries out of that bucket. This is what you're going to run into, the 5 different styles of Ryobi batteries. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Nothing. Nothing whatever. Nothing to declare. You can't declare an emptiness in the heart. What would you think of me, I wonder, if I'd said only a few personal belongings and a blank life?
Pretty far along as it is, man. I'm just sitting here getting older every minute. I've been at the champ stuff been beat clear out of me. That belt of yours, just hardware. Wouldn't even hold my pants up, and I'm stuck with it. It's a hunk of junky hardware that don't let go. Turning green on me, and it still ain't letting go.
It's all over.